keeping your paintings full of life, full of color is really important. And if you're using black, you're gonna basically kill the intensity of your color and it's gonna look a little lifeless. So I'm showing you one of my paintings. It's under glass, so sorry about the reflection here. But just to point out that in all these very dark areas, I didn't use any black to mix these. And I mixed what we call a chromatic black. And so basically just means that it's a black that appears to be black, but it's actually a color. And so when I'm mixing these very dark colors, I'm very highly aware too about which kind of dark I want. Do I want a very green dark? Do I want a very purple dark? In this case, I chose green because it contrasts with the pink and reds and purples of my flower. And so we get high contrast here because of a complement, and we get very deep spaces with these chromatic blacks. Let me show you some example. And sorry, I moved my tape. In the first example here, I've just put a swatch of black right from the tube. And then what I did was I mixed a number of different darks here, or chromatic blacks. And these three here are chromatic blacks. And this one is adding a little bit of black to Prussian blue. So I think you can clearly see, I mean, there's a lot more life to these colors than we get with just black from the tube. So it's not a terrible thing to add just a touch of black, and I really added the very little bit amount. If I talked about the ratio, it's probably in a 10-part, it would be like 1 part black and 9 parts Prussian blue. So it's a very tiny amount of black. But I don't do it. I avoid it because I can get a black like this without using any black and get more life to it. So some of the different ones here, this one I used ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. So I have a very blue color that's going to function as black in my painting. It's near the black range, so it's quite close to black. But there's a lot of good color combination here. I got more life. I mean, these are the same colors here, these four, but we can see this combination here is much more intense. This one is a more true chromatic black, and how you achieve this is to basically you're mixing your 3 primaries. So I used alizarin crimson, that was my deep red. And then I use sap green, so that functioned as my yellow because there's yellow inside of green. And then I use ultramarine blue. And so all of these are fairly dark colors. And then mixing them all together, I got basically black. But there's a little more vibrancy to this black than there is to black from the tube. So this one is just an alternate. This is an ultramarine blue and then a burnt umber. It's a little more to the gray side, feels a little bit warmer, but it can function quite well for a chromatic black. So I'll give you a sample over here too. This is the black, and then we've got the ultramarine and burnt umber mix. So it's just about my love of color, and I want to maintain some good, exciting color in my paintings, and I always feel like black just sort of deadens the color. And so here, another example of using black. This one was just a touch of black into the Prussian blue, and then this one was using the chromatic I mixed here, which was the 3 primaries in a form of it. Was the alizarin crimson, sap green, and ultramarine blue. And so it's quite a different effect when you're doing your paintings to sort of just try to just take black off your palette and mix some of these chromatic blacks. And depending on what you want to paint behind it, I'll think about what my object is, what color it is, and then I want to contrast it. So many times I'll use a complement. If my plants are green, I might use a purplish background, purple chromatic black. If I had red flowers, I might want to use a sort of greenish dark to contrast my red flowers. So always thinking about color, and get your black off your palette. And thanks for watching. If you liked that video, make sure you hit subscribe and like, and check out my other videos on YouTube.